Hello, Alicia Duffy. We are in workshop number 2 for protesting our property taxes. So I am going to go over a few things today, like exemptions, rules that the board and the panel go by, evidence, how to gather it, and then what's more important than the protests that we are doing now to get our the money that we're having to spend on taxes lower. We all want that. I think I do. So on workshop number 1, we went over getting the comps and the market value versus equity, informal, formal hearings, what they're like, and should you protest. And you can find that if you go to my property tax protest page and then click on the cheat sheet. Then it will just take you here. You fill in your information, and then it'll take you to the Google Doc, which we have at the very top of it, the comparables, and that's what I went over on workshop 1 on how to get. This is for market value. So you can go and check that out and read everything on there. The main thing that we want to not forget is that you have 30 days to file a protest. And you do want to do an informal hearing, and you want to check both the boxes on, here it is right here. When you see the market and equity, you want to check both of those boxes. And when you're looking at your comps, you want to make sure that you are looking here at the assessed value and not the market value. This is the number that you need to beat for the protest. So should you do one or not, I don't know. It depends on your house, excuse me, and the comparables. So go take a look at that, and then you will be able to judge for yourself if you think that it would be worth it to go through with the protest. So but if you do, I'm going to go over some of the rules. The main thing, and if you go back actually to my protest page, I have up at the top some videos and the different updates that that came out this year. Click here and you can see the different updates. And this is for Collin County. And I know that a lot of people are asking me, well, you know, I live in Denton County or Dallas County. Almost all around the state, the rules are the same. The tax code and everything is the same, and the way that they conduct the hearings and the rules is almost the same across the board. So this is for talking about the exemptions, and you can read through here the changes. I think that the biggest one was, you know, on the homestead, and that kind of more applies for people that just purchased their house, and you know, that you have to be in there January 1st. So when we talk about, we'll just go into homestead exemptions. On my property taxes page, I break that down a little bit more detailed, kind of like, you know, all the where do the taxes even come from and all that, but also the exemptions. And you can go and click and the different exemptions to really get down to the nitty gritty on, you know, what you should be filing. But for sure, if you're living in your home, then you should have a homestead exemption on that property. And if you are over 65, you should automatically have an over 65 exemption. So you want to make sure that that's on your paperwork, that you have those two things. Now, the homestead exemption is 2 parts. So you have the last year it was increased. I think it's from 20 to 40,000, a reduction in your taxable value by 40,000. And then the other part of it is that you have a 10% cap, meaning that it cannot go up more than 10% every year. So some people are a little confused because they move into the house and, you know, okay, well, what's going to happen? The value is going to go up. Yes, it is. So you need to prepare for that. You need to not be looking at the existing property taxes, although we've seen just crazy, you know, increases, you know, over, I mean, 28% value in Collin County over this last year. So I think that they're hopefully going to be as far as they're going to go up, but still you need to figure, and it's kind of complicated because it's not just the homestead exemption. Okay, so you can file it after you've lived in the house on January 1st. But if you bought the house, then the homestead exemption, if they have one, will continue with the house for the rest of the year until the next January 1st when they find out that you bought it. Unless you let them know early. So if you let them know early, well, then they're going to take that homestead exemption off. Or if the seller that you purchased the property from, if they go buy a new house, then they're going to fill out for their homestead exemption. And then they're going to put the old address, so your new home, and then that will take the homestead exemption away. So it's good to go ahead and ask, the previous owner if they are going to buy a new house or if they're going into an apartment or something like that. And if they are going into an apartment, then I would just let it ride the homestead exemption, because then you'll get the benefit of the cap and the exemption as well. Now, then the next January 1st, they'll find out you bought it, and that will then kind of reset everything. But at least enjoy it for that year that you move in. The over 65 is a $10,000 credit, kind of like the homestead is, but then they also, and some school districts get a freeze on or not even have to pay the school taxes. So that is all explained in here. So you can just click on that link and get more information and the forms. It doesn't cost anything to file the homestead exemption form. Like I said, just beware if you just moved in, take into account those things that I just said. So other rules that they have is, and I have, okay, so they have certain dates that they have to abide by, and this is kind of the circle of the property tax. Watch this video, which goes over the timeline and the cycle of all of this protesting thing. But if you kind of think about it, as pretty much the taxing system is kind of like it's split into like three buckets. You have the protest, you have the budget setting, and then you have the tax rates. So every year, we go through this cycle to where, on January, the appraisers will do a mass appraisal of the entire, subdivision and calculate the value for your property. And then you'll get that in the mail. They usually send it out April 15th. And we get that. And then if we don't like it, we can do our protest hearings. Once almost all of those are done, then we go and I don't like that all this is appearing right there, sorry. But so after all the protests are done, they have a certain percentage, completed, then they'll give the numbers over, and the different entities that you're taxed on, the school, city, college, things like that, will then, set the tax rate and their budgets. So we can have a say in all of that stuff. So, and once all that's done, the tax rate, the budget, everything, then that tax rate is multiplied by your value that they gave, and then you get your bill in October, and it's due January 1st. You can also go to my YouTube, and it's just youtube.com/Team Duffy, and I've got not just mine, but other people's videos that I thought were helpful. And that's one of them that's in there. Protests in Denton County, and when I did the protests in Collin County last year, obviously haven't done it yet this year. And then walking you through how to actually do the e-file. And then this is what we talked about on workshop 1, was about getting your comps and viewing them. And then there's the actual workshop if you missed it. So now talked about exemptions, and let's talk about evidence. So back to my cheat sheet here to go over the evidence. So when you talk about evidence, the main things that you're going to have are your comparables. You're going to have the market value comparables and your equity value comparables. And you want to then start just picking your house apart. So you can, take a picture on Google Satellite, and if you're next to a water house or busy road, anything like that, mark all those things down. And then you also want to do the same thing with any repairs that you have. So if you, like I said, the foundation or roof, things like that, you want to take pictures of that. And they really like to see estimates too, which is a major pain. And you'll hear on the video that, from my protest, that I did not like that they were trying to tell me I had to do that. So anyway, if you have time and you can get updated repair estimates, I mean, and my thought is, contractors are only costing more and more money. So why do I need to get one every year? But they seem to kind of frown on the fact that my estimates, might have not been from, this last year. So anyway, you do want, though, to make sure that the repairs have not already been fixed, because that's adding value to your house. And you also want to make sure that they didn't happen this year. They need to be last year. So 2022, because we're in 2023 right now. So I walk through all that in the protest cheat sheet, so you can kind of look a little bit more about the different kind of evidence. But this is kind of the order you want to do. And if you did just move in and then all of a sudden they're trying to appraise or trying to value your house for $50,000 more than you paid, well then that's when you would take your closing disclosure. Or if you did a refi and you got an appraisal, something like that. Obviously don't show it if it doesn't prove your point. If it doesn't do a reduction, then you don't want it. So, okay, going into the evidence for collecting it from the e-file system from the board. So, they have comps that they have already picked for your house, market and the equity comps. So you can, once you have set the e-file and saying that you want to do the protest, then you just go back in and download their evidence. And if it's not there, then you can request it. I put a little sample email in there so you can do that. So once you have that information and you've looked at the comparables I had at the top of this sheet, for your house, then you should have everything you need. You just need to then find the ones closest to your house that are the, least amount, the least, selling. Or you could pick apart the comparables that they use that they're way above yours because they, had pools and completely updated and all that kind of stuff. So this part goes into there. And I did want to show they give you this little, it's supposed to be their form of a cheat sheet, which is funny because it is so confusing. But when you download your evidence, from them, they'll send you this, hold on, I do have that, here we go. Okay, they'll send you this grid, their little comparison or comparables. And so this was from last year, for mine. And so they just go over some of the limitations, things like that. But they go through and this is your house, and then this is the ones that they're comparing it to. So they'll do it all for the sales. See, those are the comps for all the sales, and then they'll do the same thing for the equity, and there's the equity ones, okay? And they'll have all of that. So when you're gathering the comparables, you want at least 3 sold comps and up to 9 of the comps that are for the unequal equity. And this one here, the unequal equity, should be in your subdivision. The market value can be outside of your subdivision as long as it's, somewhat close by. There it is. There's the markup. So this is their little cheat sheet, that they give you. I highlighted it because it's so confusing, that just to kind of be able to show you what they're talking about. So, so they say the residential sales comparison grid model, and so this is the market value one. They keep interchanging words as well. And so this is the direct sales approach for properties that sold. It's supposed to be January 1 to January 1 of the previous year. And when I was at my hearing, they were showing up into February, and I'm like, I don't understand. That's going into the next year. You're not supposed to do that, but it does say leading up to or just after. Okay, so don't know exactly what that just after is, but when I did the comps for you guys on there, I went into February. So you could just maybe say, well, this is from you guys right here, and it says just after. So, and I say that because the, last year in Collin County, the highest selling month was March. And, so if that's all the comps that they're using is for March, then no, you don't want that. You want the November, December, and even January into the next year, because that's going to give you, the lowest amounts. And then you can also say, well, that's the most accurate. It's the closest to, January 1. So why can't we use that? So anyway, okay, so this is their little thing. It tells you the how they do their adjustments, and then about the effective age and the percent good. And so you can read through that, and then it does say in there about the 3 comparables. But so this is their little cheat sheet explanation. Yeah, very very overwhelming. But again, like what they send you, what you download, you saw it on the PDF that I had. It's the subject and then the comp. So, and pretty much it's just, comparing the comparable to your house, and they're trying to make each comparable just like your house. So either they're adding value or taking away value to make it just like your house. And this is what they think, made it to be like yours. So if you can pick any of those apart, then that's great. This little form here, though, will tell you what each one of these things mean. And then there's another little legend down here if you want to go that far into it. What you can do is once you get your 3 comparables that are market and the 9 comparables that, are from your subdivision that are the lowest ones that are comparable to your house, you can add all those up, divide it by how many comparables that you have. And that will give you, what the value is, what it should be, that range. So an average, because they will probably keep going back and saying, well, the median value for the areas, blah, 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 blah. But again, that's why you want to say, well, no, it's not that, it's this. Because if you look at the comparables that I brought, and especially if they're comparables from their evidence as well, you could say this is your own evidence that I'm using. So anyway, so further down in their cheat sheet, then it says almost the same information for the equity part, the unequal appraised value. This is comparing your house to the other ones in your subdivision. These are pretty much almost everything is the same. You'll see here, so I really didn't highlight that much more other than the percent good. So these should be the same type of percentage, because they're bringing this down for that property. So if they're comparing yours to ones that are way off, then that's not a really good comparison. So you could mention that, and you'll probably hear in the Collin County protest I did that they kept she kept saying that in the end about the percent good and the median value. And unfortunately, at that point, you're not supposed to talk. You're supposed to let them say their part. I didn't totally realize that, so I kept talking. But anyway, so and the same thing here, median equity value. So you can go through and I don't know if you really want to read all of that, but if you want to, I put the link in there for you. So okay, so other types of evidence. So besides the equity comps and the market value comps, you're going to have, like I said, the pictures, repairs, appraisals. So these are the main things that you're going to be taking in, when you go in on your protest day. And it's good just to have, have that out in like one sheet, kind of so you an outline of what you're going to say, and have 2 copies of everything, just in case you didn't get it uploaded, or the e-file system doesn't have the most space in it. I think I got like 2 things uploaded before I was out of space. So and then like in Denton County, I was told that we could do the thumb drive, and then I was even told again that we could do the thumb drive, and we got there and we couldn't do the thumb drive. So it was really hard to present evidence that, I didn't have, because it wasn't up on the computer screen like it should have been. So that was a pain, a real pain. But anyway, okay. So changing the system. Okay, so when we remember, I said about the 3 buckets. So this is that part for doing your protest, for your evaluation of your property. And then the next is the budget and the tax rate. So this last, I think it was a year before last, they came out with this transparency. There it is, the property tax transparency in Texas. And what it does is it shows you for your specific house exactly what is going to what was proposed, what's actual. I mean, there's really a lot of good information. Okay, so you're putting in your address, and then it's going to pull. You'll see on the right-hand side it has your all your taxes: Allen City, Collin County, College, Plano ISD, and then in the middle it's all those same things, but you have these little tabs that you can open, and you can look and see. Okay, well, what would it be if they did what they're proposing, what rate they're proposing, and then what rate was actually adopted, how much money that is and where it's going, and how everybody voted on it, because we're supposed to vote on all of that. But what's even cooler about this is that it has these emails and this provide feedback buttons, and about when the hearings are going to be, because everybody's supposed to go, well, how am I supposed to know? Because they're supposed to make it public. But like over 100,000 people, protesting Collin County, and like 5 people showed up at the hearing to talk about the tax rate and budgets. And I'm like, really, that's what's, really important, but it's so hard because they don't make it really easy to find. So now they put it on there, but of course they haven't set the date yet, that it's last year, but at least you kind of know around about when it's going to be. So, but then you can say provide feedback, and here's where you can have your voice heard, and let them know that, hey, my property values are rising up, and my expectation is that you are going to lower the tax rate, and you're not going to take a pay increase. You're going to to make it adjusted accordingly so that my tax bill is not that high. So then you'll go in and just copy and just paste that into each one of these entities here. I mean, it took me like 2 minutes to do. I have for last year on my protest page a PDF. I couldn't find it again. I'm thinking a lot of the people are still the same, but so last year I just copied all of these people and sent that email to them, and obviously it made a huge difference because I did that. But if we all did it, that would make a really good difference. So, but anyway, so you can do that with the PDF, but definitely go in and use that new, system that they have to be able to provide the feedback right there, and it goes straight to the elected officials. And so hopefully everybody can do that. And, I started thinking there were so many times that you don't know what's happening, with what's going on with, okay, so if it's informal, do we go up there? I call, nobody answers, and what's happening. And I was like, we really need, I know we have like Nextdoor and Facebook for, specific things, but if you are like me, everything, there's just so much of it that things get lost. So I started a group. I don't know if anybody's going to use it or not, but I thought it'd be a good place to just go, especially for Collin County, but, also Dallas and Denton, the surrounding areas around us, to be able to put things every year, because from year to year you forget, and you're like, what did we do with what, so it'd be a good Facebook group kind of to go back to, and you can go back and look through the previous, post, the previous year of things, and then hopefully, get some information. And then if everybody will start posting with, hey, I'm going to go protest, or I was just there today, the line was around the corner, don't go, they said to do this. And, it would just be nice for everybody to be able to help each other out on it. And so hopefully we'll use it. I'll put a link to it. I think I just called it property tax protesters or something easy like that. But so anyway, if you have any questions, next I'm going to, there's a couple of places that do it for you. And I had never used any of them because, I don't know, I feel like if it's not done, if I don't do it myself, then it might not be done right, whatever. But, when you're looking at all this, if you're like, no, that is way too much, then I've got a section, hiring someone. Okay, there we go. I put some places here, haven't used them, like I said, but other people have told me, this one's good, that one's good. And I just heard about a new one. And I've already gone on and kind of played with it a little bit because it gives you some comps and lets you look at stuff, and it doesn't seem very expensive. And they take a percentage of how much, that they're able to get off. But with the rates, the values being so high, it's who knows how low we're going to be able to get it. So it might be, good to go ahead and use those. So I was playing with it. I was a little disappointed that it didn't, that the comps that I would have picked, it didn't show, and they were the lowest ones, but I'm not sure why that happened. So I'm going to play with it a little bit more, and then I'll post a video about it, just if nothing else, to use the site because it's free, and you can look at some of the comps, kind of like you do here and in my area. So the comps up here. So anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. I hope that this is helpful, and I hope that we can all get our assessed values lowered so that we can save some money. Okay, thank you for watching. Okay, bye.